Imagine a world engulfed in ice. It's the last glacial maximum. The air burns your lungs at $40°/circ $F$, $40°/circ C$. The sun is a distant memory, and the land is an unforgiving sheet of white. Survival is measured in minutes. Now, imagine a fragile human settlement, built not from stone or timber, but from the very bones of the giant beasts they hunted, the woolly mammoths. In this brutal, primal landscape, our ancestors faced the ultimate engineering challenge, thermal survival. The paradox is stark. In an era with no glass, no insulation foam, and no central heating, an era we often dismiss as primitive, archaeological evidence reveals something astonishing. The hearths they lit were small, but their homes, ingeniously engineered, maintained remarkably stable, survivable, and sometimes even comfortable interior temperatures, potentially reaching up to $68°/circ F$, $20°/circ C$, in the living spaces near the fire. How could these seemingly simple, ancient structures, built from earth, hide, and massive, curving bones, defeat the relentless, bone-chilling cold of the Ice Age and create a pocket of summer warmth in the heart of winter? How did they design dwellings that were, in their own way, thermal masterpieces? The common image of our Ice Age ancestors is often one of a shivering, nomadic hunter, huddled in a crude, smoky cave, living a brutal, moment-to-moment existence. We picture a people who were solely focused on securing the next meal, lacking the time or the intellect for sophisticated design. This is a profound and misleading myth, a severe underestimation of human intelligence. The truth revealed by decades of archaeological work is far more breathtaking. The people of the Upper Paleolithic were not just surviving, they were thriving through meticulous planning, complex social structures, and most critically, brilliant applied engineering. The architecture that preserved them was not a matter of luck or crude simplicity, it was the result of a profound understanding of geothermal mass, thermal physics, and material science. We are looking not at primitive shelters, but at the world's first examples of passive solar design and low emissivity architecture. This is the real story, an epic of cognitive resilience and architectural genius. The evidence is scattered across the Eurasian steppes, a frozen time capsule waiting for the spade. Our story is fundamentally grounded in sites like Mezhyrich, Ukraine, dating back approximately 15,000 years ago, and the famous settlement complex of Dolní Věstonice and Pavlov in the modern-day Czech Republic, around 27,000 to 30,000 years ago. At these Paleolithic settlements, what archaeologists initially thought were random piles of large bones were, in fact, the carefully collapsed remains of enormous, sophisticated structures. At Mezhyrich, excavators uncovered 5 distinct dwellings built almost entirely from the bones of dozens of individual woolly mammoths. The walls were constructed using interlocking mandibles and femurs, forming a sturdy structural frame, and the roofs were vast, dome-like structures built from hundreds of curved mammoth tusks. The most crucial evidence lay in the floor plans and post-hole arrangements. The dwellings were semi-subterranean, meaning the floor of the house was dug out to a depth of up to 3 feet into the earth. Chemical analysis of the undisturbed soil floors revealed a distinct pattern, a central area heavily oxidized by fire, indicating the placement of a hearth, surrounded by a ring of highly compressed organic material, the probable remnants of insulating bedding and hide floor coverings. Furthermore, the consistent depth and diameter of the structural pit suggest a deliberate application of ground thermal stability to mitigate the harsh above-ground temperature swings. This evidence confirms not just shelter, but intentional, thermally efficient design. The secret to achieving near $68°/circ F$ internal temperatures in an Ice Age climate lies in a brilliant combination of 6 interconnected engineering principles, primarily demonstrated in the semi-subterranean and mammoth bone structures. This was the foundational genius. By digging the dwelling into the ground, the builders immediately utilized the Earth's natural thermal inertia. Below the frost line, soil temperature remains relatively constant year-round, typically near the annual average air temperature, which, even in the Ice Age, was significantly warmer than the extreme winter lows. This massive thermal mass served as a passive battery, reducing the heat gradient between the inside and the outside, drastically lowering the energy needed for heating. The excavated pit itself acted as a crucial wind barrier, reducing convective heat loss from the walls. The Paleolithic builders created the first sophisticated composite material for insulation. The walls, built from massive bones like the scapula and femur, were not porous like wood. The dense, hollow bones likely trapped small pockets of air, providing a degree of insulation. More importantly, the exterior of the bone structure would have been deliberately earthed up and packed with insulating materials like moss, peat, or even snow, a technique known today as berming. The final layer was a covering of animal hides, stretched taut over the bone and tusk framework. This created a multi-layered, low-emissivity envelope that both trapped the heat generated inside and resisted the penetration of external cold. In order to limit the ingress of frigid air, many of these structures possessed a low, narrow, and often covered tunnel entrance or vestibule. This entryway served as a cold trap. Since cold air is denser than warm air, any air entering the main dwelling would have to flow through this low, restricted passage, which naturally filtered the coldest, heaviest air near the ground, keeping the main living space significantly warmer. It was the ancient version of an airlock. The hearths found in these dwellings were relatively small, suggesting a focus on fuel efficiency rather than massive, roaring heat. These fires were designed to be slow-burning and to heat the earth beneath them, allowing the soil to absorb and re-radiate heat back into the dwelling, an early form of a radiant floor heating system. The enclosed nature of the dwelling, with low ventilation, allowed the heat from the hearth to build up slowly and efficiently, leveraging the greenhouse effect under the hide roof. The limited oxygen supply also encouraged a more complete and longer burn cycle for the available fuel, likely fat-rich bones and wood scraps. While ventilation needed to be limited to conserve heat, smoke and carbon monoxide still needed to be managed. The domed tusk roof would have had a small, adjustable aperture, a primitive smoke hole, strategically placed to vent the smoky, warmer air. The continuous heat generation from the central hearth would create a consistent convective loop within the structure. Warm air rises to the roof, is vented, and cooler, fresher air is drawn in slowly through the cold trap entry, ensuring thermal stratification and livability. Finally, the most underrated heating element was the occupants themselves. A group of up to 20 or more humans, along with their activities, generate a considerable amount of metabolic heat. Even a modest number of people sleeping together can dramatically increase the ambient temperature of a well-insulated, small volume. This thermal mass of occupancy was a predictable and constant energy source factored into the overall thermal performance of the dwelling. This mastery over the environment did far more than simply ensure physical survival, it fundamentally shaped their society. The ability to create a warm, stable, and well-lit interior, a secure space, allowed for the development of culture and abstract thought. In the steady warmth of the Mammoth bone homes, our ancestors had the time and the mental bandwidth to move beyond the urgent need for hunting and engage in high-level intellectual pursuits. This is where specialized roles flourished: the architects who understood the earth and bone construction, the hunters who provided the structural material, and the hide tanners who ensured the crucial thermal seals. The archaeological record shows an explosion of Paleolithic art, figurines, carvings, and complex toolmaking, needles, tailored clothing, within these settlements. The secure, warm dwelling became the crucible for knowledge transfer across generations, a sanctuary where children could learn, stories could be told, and the profound, collaborative intelligence of the human species could be nurtured, fostering a strong sense of community and psychological well-being against the overwhelming chaos of the glacial world outside. The ancient builders of Mezhyrich and Dolní Věstonice weren't just surviving, they were practicing sustainable architecture millennia before the term existed. Their principles are directly applicable to modern problems. Today, researchers in Arctic science and sustainable design are relearning the genius of the pit house. Even a modest number of people sleeping together can dramatically increase the ambient temperature of a well-insulated, small volume. This thermal mass of occupancy was a predictable and constant energy source factored into the overall thermal performance of the dwelling. This mastery over the environment did far more than simply ensure physical survival, it fundamentally shaped their society. The ability to create a warm, stable, and well-lit interior, a secure space, allowed for the development of culture and abstract thought. In the steady warmth of the Mammoth bone homes, our ancestors had the time and the mental bandwidth to move beyond the urgent need for hunting and engage in high-level intellectual pursuits. This is where specialized roles flourished: the architects who understood the earth and bone construction, the hunters who provided the structural material, and the hide tanners who ensured the crucial thermal seals. The archaeological record shows an explosion of Paleolithic art, figurines, carvings, and complex toolmaking, needles, tailored clothing, within these settlements. The secure, warm dwelling became the crucible for knowledge transfer across generations, a sanctuary where children could learn, stories could be told, and the profound, collaborative intelligence of the human species could be nurtured, fostering a strong sense of community and psychological well-being against the overwhelming chaos of the glacial world outside. The ancient builders of Mezhyrich and Dolní Věstonice weren't just surviving, they were practicing sustainable architecture millennia before the term existed. Their principles are directly applicable to modern problems. Today, researchers in Arctic science and sustainable design are relearning the genius of the pit house. Modern Earth-sheltered homes and geothermal heating systems operate on the exact same principle, leveraging the stability of the Earth's thermal mass to reduce energy consumption. Even the concept of a multi-layered structure to maximize thermal efficiency is a cornerstone of modern passive house standards. The lasting lesson from The Cold Trap is a powerful truth about human nature: adversity is the greatest forge of innovation. Our ancestors proved that true resilience is not just about brute strength, but about the elegant application of intelligence, observation, and meticulous design to the world around us. Their legacy is a profound reminder that the most durable technology is often the one that works in harmony with natural principles. We set out to uncover how a civilization without any modern technology could achieve a habitable indoor environment of up to $68 in the depths of the Ice Age. The answer is a testament to their extraordinary ingenuity. They didn't fight the cold, they outsmarted it. They engineered the Earth itself into a thermal battery, used the bones of their prey as complex insulation, and designed subtle, brilliant cold traps to manage airflow. Their success was a triumph of the intellect, turning the greatest challenge, the megafauna they hunted, into the very material that secured their survival and allowed their culture to flourish. Join us next time on The Frostbitten Past, as we delve into another mystery of resilience. How did Ice Age hunters manage the logistics of a hunt that required hundreds of people to coordinate across dozens of miles in the unforgiving, featureless landscape of the frozen tundra?